a deep breath just to settle in here. Feel free to join me if you would like. If you are going to join for a deep breath, find nice supportive posture, nice hollow channel with your spine, plenty of room for your breath to move through. When you're ready, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe shake it out, loosen up, ground in, let go. Let's do it again. Deep breath in, out, maybe with some sound, just letting go. And this time I'm going to reach overhead and just take a nice stretch. Get ready to fully ground in to our circle. And I just want to start by saying hello and welcome to the circle tonight. Welcome to my bedroom, my red bedroom with my moon bedspread, all tying into the theme of this moon tonight. So perfect environment for me to transmit from. But if this is your first time joining in, I just want to say welcome to this space, and also welcome if this is your first time getting to know me. My name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess, an intuitive, a channeler of the divine, and I host these moon circles as much as I can every new moon and full moon to let you know what's going on in the cosmos, how to align with the energy, and just a little bit of practical magic or tools that you can use during these moon portals to enhance the energy and assist you with anything that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to release or receive, or maybe you're doing a little bit of shadow work. You know, there's a lot of healing that happens under moons. There's a lot of energy here. So whatever you're trying to do with this lunar energy, I'm here to just give you a little bit of guidance and assistance. This is a live moon circle at the time of this transmission. So anybody here, feel free to use the chat if you have questions, if you have comments, anything that you want to put in there. This is meant to be a space of community. So we want to make sure and enhance this space for that very thing. It is really bothering me that this one pillow is like white and this one pillow is red. And I know that is really just silly, but I have to fix this, or I'm going to stare at it in the background the entire time. Let's get a little bit more symmetrical here with the bedding, best we can. All right, that's a little bit better, a little bit more satisfactory. Can we, it's the sign of the twins, Gemini. We're probably looking for more symmetry than normal right now, but the irony of that is even with the twins of the world, each one of them is slightly different, even with identical twins. So there's going to be a little bit of asymmetry amongst the symmetry tonight, and that just vibes with the energy as well. So tonight, just to give you a heads up of what we have in store, it's probably only going to be about an hour tonight that we're meeting together. I don't have as much information to share as normal. This is a pretty mellow full moon in comparison to some of the others, in comparison to our previous moon. The last full moon, I didn't even do a moon circle. I did one with the new moon in Scorpio. So it's been a while since we've done a full moon circle, and I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. But I do want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with this full moon in Gemini, what that means, talk about the Vedic astrology of this moon, maybe touch base a little bit on Sagittarius season, and talk a little bit about Saturn squaring this moon as well. Also, Mercury is coming into play, Mars is coming into play. So we'll talk about all of the planetary stuff that is happening right now. And then we'll do a little bit of a prayer or invocation to bring in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions and the elements. I'll suggest some elements that you can work with. We're going to talk a little bit about smudging tonight. That's kind of our practical magic that we'll touch base on. I have a tarot reading for this full moon. We'll talk about that towards the end of the transmission. And if we have time, I'm going to tell you about a couple of things because it is Cyber Moon Day, Cyber Monday, and I do have a couple of specials going on. But if you want to save yourself time, you can go to my website, vinalene.com. You can click on store. Everything is discounted and marked down there. You can take a gander. But I do want to talk about a couple of things coming up. I have a brand new astrology digital membership coming up at the first of the year called 13 Moons. I'm going to talk about that. And also doors for enrollment are open on Conscious Creatress, which is something that I haven't done for some time. So I'll talk about that at the end of the transmission if you're interested. I just want to say hello to all these people joining in. Hello. I knew if we waited just a few minutes, even though the pros tell you not to do that, I knew that more people would pop on. So welcome to the transmission. Welcome to this moon circle. Please use the chat if you need to. I am curious to know, anybody that's live tonight, are you holding Gemini energy? Are you a sun, moon, or rising in Gemini? Do you have a Gemini stellium? Is there anything influencing you from the Gemini side in your birth chart? I always like to see what's going on there. As for me and myself, no, I don't have a lot of Gemini energy ruling, but I do have a lot of air in my chart. Like I said, I am a Libra sun, so that brings in a lot of air. And also I'm a Leo rising, and right now we're in Sagittarius season, which is another fire sign, and then we have this air energy of Gemini. So it's this air fire combo, and that is very much my chart, even though it's not the same signs. I have a lot of Sag in my chart, and I have a lot of Aquarius and Libra in my chart. So just sharing a little bit about my birth chart background. Let's actually start. Now that everybody is here, we would like to start with just kind of introducing the elements that maybe you want to work with this moon. If you don't have these elements, perfectly cool. You don't have to have them. You're actually going to be receiving the energy from these elements tonight just by being here, by connecting and listening to this. Whether you're listening live or on the replay, by the way, that's the magic of the ether. But if you have these tools, I would suggest working with these underneath this Gemini full moon. I'll start with the earth element. We're just going to jump right in tonight. With the earth, I suggest working with the crystal of agate. And I love agate because every piece is so different. So I have this piece right here, and you can see that it is clear on one side, and it almost looks like carnelian. It's got that carnelian red to it, but this is an agate. I also have another agate here that's a little bit more of a red, but on the back side of it, it's got this beautiful swirly white and gray. And these agates usually have kind of a swirl to them. That's how you know. But then this one, check this out, kind of a gray, clear brown, and then this beautiful pink or peach color. And it's kind of hard to tell on the phone, but there's a little bit of a teal band in there too, which is kind of cool. And then even what I'm wearing is agate, just this simple kind of a clearish white. So agate comes in all forms, and I like it because it's a very general stone to help ground you. And it also relates to Gemini energy because they are all agate. All of the stones are the same type of gemstone. However, each one of them is different. Just like, as I mentioned, twins. Even when twins are identical, they're slightly different. So we're focusing on appreciating the asymmetry of the symmetry, the imperfections of the perfections, believing that everything is slightly flawed, and we accept those flaws for their beauty or for their uniqueness and the things that they have to offer. So we also, I mentioned, we're in this energy of air and fire with the Gemini moon air element. We've got the fire of Sagittarius because we're still in Sagittarius season, and that can bring more fire. It's a restless energy. It's a hyper energy, hyperactive. You can see it with me. I'm very hyperactive tonight with our moon circle. I just want to dive right in and go for it. I want to clean the house after this. I know it's going to be late, but I spent some time cleaning today, and I just want to finish some things after everybody goes to bed. And I've been kind of a night owl around this moon. It's been interesting, but if we need to ground, if we need to slow down, I would suggest working with agate. You could literally hold this in your pocket. You could meditate, like holding them in your hand, let them kind of weigh you down. You could take a shavasana and put these agates on your chest or your belly where your solar plexus is, that internal fire. You could sleep with these under your pillow to assist your sleeping, or have them next to your nightstand. Lots of different functions for agate, so feel free to use that accordingly. And it's a really accessible stone, by the way. You can usually find agate around, but it's also super affordable to buy in your typical crystal store. So have fun with your agate. Moving on to the next earth element, I always have some sort of smudging stick, and today I'm using good old white sage. Nothing special. Well, I don't want to say nothing special. Of course it's special. White sage is a nice, again, accessible smudging stick that you can usually find. It's a very cleansing smoke. It's a powerful smoke for purifying the air, and it does bring in that sensation of purification. Anytime we're in an air moon, so I've got a little bit of a restless leg thing going on. Speaking of restless energy, anytime we work with an air moon, we are sensing a need of purification with our breath, purification with our voice, purification with the air that we're actually breathing. So this is a really wonderful time to change out your furnace filters. If you haven't done that in a while, dust out your vents, the vents in your car as well. You get a lot of, clean up the windows on your car, clean up the windows in your house. I mentioned to my husband, we need to get the air compressor and blow out all of the fans. We have like floor box fans in all of the rooms for nighttime, so we need to kind of clean out all the dust. But anything that moves the air around, you want to be mindful of purifying that and also purifying the air itself. So with that, I'm going to light up this smudging stick with our second element, the element of fire. I'm using a lighter. I'm going modern here. I'm making it easy. But when we combine our first element, earth, this smudging stick, with our second element, fire, you're going to start to see a smoke give off. And I'm not surprised that not a lot of smoke wants to give off right now, because I'm in a pretty pure space. I keep our house smudged. I've been cleaning a lot. I keep this space smudged a lot because I do work in it. I meditate in it. I've been doing Reiki in here a lot. My altar's in here. So you're in a sacred space. You're in a very intimate space here in my bedroom tonight. So don't need a lot of smoke. And it's always interesting, speaking of this third element, the smoke, wind, air, the theme of our moon tonight. You want to pay attention when you're smudging where the smoke goes. Number one, how much smoke is being produced? Like I said, is it a heavy smoke? Is there a lot that needs to be cleansed? Is it a very small smoke? Make sure you have a window open, by the way, so the smoke can travel. The smoke should be going out here towards the window, but it's not. It's going straight up to the ceiling. And I'm actually just going to, while I have this smoke, kind of get this going a little bit. I'm going to take this in a clockwise direction around you and around the technology that I'm using to transmit to you, and also around me. And I'm just going around 3 times, but you could go as much as you would want intuitively. And then I'm just going to actually let this continue to burn. I'm going to hold it to you just to see. Yeah, the smoke goes to you just a little bit, which I figured, we all need a little smudging. But yeah, it should be going to the window, and it's kind of just going to the phone and up to the ceiling. So whatever needs to be purified, hanging out up there right now. Veil is thin still, Scorpio season. And that's already starting to burn out. But I'm just going to let it kind of hang out. Always have something for the smudge stick to hang out in and catch the ash that burns. You don't want to end up with that all over the place as well. But I just have it in a glass bowl tonight. Nice clear bowl. So we'll just let that continue to burn out. But I mentioned we'll kind of talk about smudging, and I just want to go ahead and touch base on that now. So I already mentioned that, when you smudge, you want to have a window open or a door. You want to have something cracked for the smoke to leave. I mentioned purification. If you didn't know this, it has been scientifically proven with all the data and the numbers in pure Gemini fashion. Geminis love to interpret data, numbers, science, even a little bit. They love to contemplate and think on things and learn things and philosophize, and that's kind of Sagittarius as well. Sagittarius people and energy love to learn, so we're still in that with Gemini. But with Gemini in this season of air, by the way, providing a little bit of clarity on smudging, you want to have a space for the smoke to leave, and you want to make sure that you're smudging in a clockwise direction in your room. If you go a different way, it's not going to not work. It's fine. But you're purifying the space energetically. So when you go in a clockwise direction, you're cleansing the space energetically. You're releasing energy. It doesn't matter what kind. And then also, it's been scientifically proven that you're actually purifying the air. You are eliminating bacteria and microbes, and even like EMFs. It kind of clears the electrical pollution. It clears out any sort of germs and that sort of thing. It really does purify the air in multiple levels. And we've been smudging for thousands of years. We've been using incense and smudge to purify spaces for a very long time. So we're just continuing with that practice, but now we have kind of scientific proof that it works. So make sure that you're maybe smudging your spaces this weekend if you can. If you can't use smoke, we're still talking about smudging here, you can use a water smudge. So I don't have any of my smudging sprays right now. I've been like selling them and giving them away left and right, and doing a lot of Reiki with people lately in spaces, cleansing spaces, and giving them smudging sprays in the process. But you can make your own smudging spray. You just get a spray bottle of any sort. You're going to combine your you can do a couple of things. You can get some sort of sage oil. It doesn't have to be sage. It could be cinnamon oil. It could be wild orange. It could be rose. Rose is really nice for uplifting frequency. Frankincense in the spirit of the holiday season. So you can use any essential oils, about I don't know, anywhere from 20 to 30 drops in a 2-ounce bottle of water. Add a little bit of witch hazel or a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, 91% if you can, just to provide a preservative to the water, so nothing's going to grow in that water. It's going to keep it nice and clean and pure. If you don't want to use an essential oil, you can also, and if you don't want to use alcohol or witch hazel, you can do things like brandy or whiskey. You can use vodka. You can do any sort of, alcohol. 'Tis the season, right? We tend to consume a little bit more, but you make your smudging spray with those spirits too, to banish the other spirits, so to say. But if you don't want to use essential oils, you could use a cinnamon stick. You could do rosemary. You could do basil. Basil's good to use right now. You can take any sort of sage leaves or even like a smudging stick and soak this in some sort of alcohol, whether it be the drinking kind or the medicinal kind. Make a tincture up. Use that tincture as your essential oil, and just use about 1/10 of that, like a 10-to-1 dilution in a bottle. I know I'm blabbing now, but you can make a smudging spray is what I'm getting to, and you don't have to use smoke to purify and cleanse. You can use the power of those oils in a very pure water, and you can spray your spaces as well. You can spray it in a clockwise direction. When you're smudging, whether you're using your smoke or whether you're using your water, you really want to spray like up in the corners of all of the spaces. You want to go around all of your electronics, your mirrors, your windows, your your doors, like literally open the closet doors, open the drawers even. Like if you really want to smudge, you might want to save that more towards the first of the year, or Yule, or the Lunar New Year. But if you really want to smudge, open up every single space you can think of, any nook and cranny and crevice, and really spray or get the smoke in there. I also like to put stones in my bottles for my smudging sprays, and that gives you a little bit of extra energy. And I actually like to shake the bottle with the stones and really put out that energy in all the spaces as well. So it's kind of like I'm smudging with sound as much as I am with smoke or the water as well. To enhance your smudging spray, or to just make it extra powerful, you can either make the smudging spray and set that out underneath the full moon right now, or you can use water that you charge underneath the moon and use that to make your spray. So either one, but the moon is full. It's not an eclipsed moon. This is a great moon for charging up moon water, charging your crystals, charging your cards. Charging all of your woo, all of your things, to bring in some extra energy. Also, if you need to cleanse anything, you can cleanse it with the moon, and you can reset with this full moon as well. It does work in both ways. If you are smudging with a smudging spray, that's a great alternative if you can't use smoke because you can't have like smoke detectors going off and that sort of thing. Maybe you're traveling, smudging sprays are really good for that as well. So lots of different ways that you can use that. When it comes to smudging materials, like your actual smoke and fire, white sage, Palo Santo, those are two really popular smudging sticks, smudging materials. However, they are also a lot of times sourced unethically or sourced in a non-sustainable way. So white sage a lot of times is collected illegally or without permission on indigenous land. Unfortunately, because smudging is such a popular thing now, many people take advantage of that and don't honor the earth and don't honor culture and don't honor sacred spaces when they harvest and collect. I wouldn't even call it a harvest, when they steal from the land. So you want to make sure that things are coming from a good space. I get all of my smudging materials from ethical sources, places that are coming with a good energy. It's not anything illegal and not anything bad. There is white sage that is grown in places where you can collect it and it's okay. There is white sage that is being sold from indigenous cultures and tribes and places, and that's fine too. Just make sure you're getting it from a good spot. That has to do with white sage. Also with your Palo Santo, it's coming from South America. It's coming from the rainforest. Palo Santo, traditionally, it should be harvested from trees that have been dead for over 7 years. The longer the tree is dead, the more powerful the resin becomes. So you don't want to get it from a fresh tree, but unfortunately, people are, again, maybe collecting this in a non-sustainable way, not before that 7-year time frame, or even when the trees are still alive, or maybe they're cutting them down and just harvesting within that first year of them being dead. You don't want bad juju with the things you're using to get rid of bad juju. Does that make sense? Okay. So I don't think I have much else to say about smudging. As far as other things that you could do, you can light up dried rosemary. You can light up dried rose. You could do lavender. You could do mint, lemongrass, sweetgrass. The list goes on and on. Lots of options, but it's a great time to smudge right now. Okay. Moving on to water, I already mentioned that you might want to charge up some moon water right now. I just set out my receptacle earlier. Me and my kiddo will drink that tomorrow. We always set out moon water underneath the full moon when we can, when we remember, when we have time. But you can do that. I also get the question a lot of times about all the things that we're charging under the moon or cleansing under the moon, whether that be your moon water, your smudging sprays, or just your materials, crystals, whatever. Do you have to put it outside No. If you're worried that something is going to get it, or if the weather is not good, then you can put things in a windowsill or even in the floor where the moonlight's going to shine in through your window. Just keep the curtains open. So that works too. Same with the weather. People say, what if it's cloudy, or what if it's raining, snowing? What if you can't see the moon? Doesn't matter. It's still here. It's still in that phase, whether you see it or not. It's still shining down at its peak luminosity, at its peak energetic effect. And we can take advantage of that just by setting our stuff out and letting it absorb. So doesn't matter what the weather is. Doesn't matter if it's inside or outside, as long as it's getting exposure to the outside light, either through a window or outside, it's going to work. Okay. With water, if you don't want to work with moon water, or, just stay hydrated, always good to do with a full moon, especially a moon that is bringing in air and fire. It's going to really dehydrate you. So nourish with drinking a lot of water. But this is also a great time to do like a detox tea, some sort of juice cleanse. We are coming out of the Thanksgiving weekend if you're here in North America, but we're also in the holiday season in general in most places all over the world. And with that, there is a lot of indulgences and there's a lot of stress on our gut. So we want to make sure we're taking care of our gut health right now. And you might want to do a little detox or a little cleanse right now. If you don't feel like doing any of that, cool. How about some essential oils to work with? I always like to suggest some sort of aromatherapy to work with. With this particular moon, I would suggest first off maybe working with neroli. Neroli is a sweet orange blossom oil. It smells divine. It uplifts your frequency. Sometimes the holidays, it almost smells like a honeysuckle, if you know what a honeysuckle smells like, but then it's got this sweetness to it, like a honeysuckle and a daffodil crossed together. That'd be a good description. But neroli uplifts your mood. It uplifts your frequency. This is the holiday season. If you're needing to get in the mood, neroli might help with that. It also helps you if you're feeling down, because this is still a season that is, not a season, it's Sagittarius season, but it's a Scorpio lunar cycle. The last new moon was Scorpio. The next new moon will be Sagittarius. The energy will shift. But this particular lunar cycle might be bringing in shadows, shadow work, shadowy things, moody situations, moody feelings, all the feels. If you need help, neroli is a great way to go. Neroli is also really great for enhancing your your sacral chakra. So it's good to help with emotional processing. Also helps you with fertility, not only with actual fertility, but fertility in all forms of creativity, things that you're trying to bring through. Maybe you're trying to craft gifts or wrap things up or decorate your home, or maybe you just have something that you're trying to come up with right now, something that you're trying to create or manifest, or some dream you're trying to make come true. All of that can be fertilized with the assistance of neroli. Now also geranium is a great one to use for fertility. I'm going to smell this. This is going to be an experiment right now. So sometimes I love geranium and sometimes I hate geranium. Today it's a mixed feeling. I mostly like it. And it's interesting because I'm in my cycle right now. I'm on day, day 3 of my cycle, and I'm usually starting to move into my creative, fertile energy by day 4 of my cycle. Not necessarily, fertile window, of course, but just like that creative, fertile flow where I want energy to move through and help, make things come to fruition out of my mind. I usually start to feel that about day 4. So geranium can be good to fuel your fertility no matter how you're trying to create. So I would suggest working with those 2 oils with this moon as well. This is a very creative moon from the perspective of Vedic astrology, and we'll talk about that here in just a few. So if you feel the need to enhance your creativity, or if you're feeling a creative block, you might want to utilize neroli or geranium to help you with that. Okay, and finally, we have our fifth element. I already mentioned it. It's the ether. It's the space that we're connecting with tonight. Maybe you're here live. Maybe you're listening to the replay down the road. It doesn't matter if you're using technology to tune in, which you have to. That's the ether. The ether withstands space and time. That's why I like to use it for my moon circles, because it's only going to get stronger the more and more people tune into this transmission. So whenever we have people tuning into the replay, or maybe somebody goes back down the road in the future and says, oh, I don't want to remember what happened with the full moon in Gemini in 2023, and they go back and check that out, that's going to enhance this energy. Also, it enhances the energy of the elements I just brought into the circle. Remember that this withstands space and time, so you're feeling this as if you're sitting right here in front of me in my bedroom, here on my bed in front of me. You're feeling the smudge smoke. You're feeling the energy of the agate. You're maybe smelling or sensing the energetic effects of the neroli and the geranium. So all of this has power in the ether, and it doesn't matter that we're in different places. It doesn't matter that it's different times when we're tuning in. So really cool magical space, and one that's really growing right now with the age of Aquarius and with technology and AI, and it's only going to get more powerful, so we're going to utilize it for our moon circles as well. By the way, I had a feather. I didn't use it tonight because I didn't need to fan a lot of smoke, but that's another element that you can use for air energy. You could use it to simply fan the smoke all around the room, or you can just use it to just kind of cleanse. You can energetically cleanse with a feather if you need to dust off energy. Feathers have a lot of power. This is an eagle feather. I mentioned we're in a Scorpio lunar cycle, and the eagle is one of the eagle, not the ego. Well, it is, but the eagle is one of the archetypes of Scorpio. So I had a feather here tonight as well, but I ended up not using it. But practical magic, if you need air energy, feathers can work as well. Okay, let's take a moment to bring in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions. I know that we already brought them in with our previous moon circle, our new moon in Scorpio. Tonight we will release them when we are done, but in case there's anybody else that wants to join the lunar party, we're going to invite them in now. So I'm just going to get a little bit taller. I got to switch my position. I'm on my bed. I'm sinking in. I feel like I'm just getting lower and lower here, so switch it up for a moment. All right, feel free to join me in this prayer. Simply listen in. I want to start by inviting in the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air. Air helps to move things around, to freshen up spaces, to help get rid of stagnant energy. Air is purifying, and it also represents the new beginnings, the beginning of a new day, the beginning of a new month, the beginning of a lunar cycle, the beginning of a new year. Although we are in a full moon right now, we are also feeling the beginning of the holiday season and the dawn of 2024 ahead. So as we think about the future, we think about all of the fresh starts and new opportunities we have. We thank the guides and guardians of the element of air in the East for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire. We are in the fiery season of Sagittarius, and when we mix in the air of Gemini, we only get more fire. We know that we are restless because there is so much excitement coming our way, and our spirit already senses it. We know that we are fired up for the new year and what we want to create, and all of our hopes and dreams and goals and ambitions that we're ready to embark on. Sagittarius is the cosmic traveler, and we know that there are exciting journeys ahead for us. We also know that fire helps us to purify and burn away what no longer serves, and this moon is very much about relationship. And so As we analyze the energetic exchanges we do invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire to be with us if we need to burn away any ties or knotted connections tonight. And we thank them for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water. Water being representative of both time and emotion, knowing that we are halfway through this lunar cycle and also so close to a new year, and it's easy to get ahead of ourselves, and it's also easy to spend a lot of time and maybe regret, but we can also just find gratitude for what we've experienced as we're under this reflective Gemini full moon. We find ourselves maybe in contemplation of the past, but also learning to surround it with the air element of love. We also ask for the waters of our emotions to move anything through that is stuck. We ask for a pure flow of our energy, our blood, our lymph, knowing that the full moon makes yeast and parasites and other things more active that do not serve. We invite in pure water, the energetics of water, to move anything through that needs to move through. And we thank the guides and guardians of the West with their water for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the North with their element of earth, bringing in the elements of the crystals, the smudging stick, the certain combination of chemistry to produce fire on this earthly planet, the water, and everything else of this earth that serves us in a magical, protective, and healing, purifying way. We also invite in our ancestors, all of those who have come before us and all of those who are preparing to arrive in the future. We ask them all to guide us now as we currently walk this path of life on earth. And we thank the guides and guardians of the North with their element of earth for being in our circle tonight. Finally, we invite in the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the ether, the Akash, the spirit realm, the mystical, the magical, the unexplainable, the archangels and angels, the deities, the other cosmic beings and races, cosmic energy, source energy and consciousness. Inviting in whatever needs to be here to serve in whatever way it needs to serve. We thank the fifth element for being in our circle tonight. Well, I said we'd be an hour, but we're already coming up on 40 minutes. So we'll see how much we accomplish in the next 20 minutes. Let's talk about Saturn real quick, because if we don't, I might forget. Saturn is squaring this moon. What does that mean? Anytime a planet is squaring, it creates a little bit of a conflicting energy. Again, that tension, that restlessness, that magnetic resistance. You might be feeling those things right now. And part of that resistance is the work that you still need to do. Did you attend our last moon circle with the new moon in Scorpio, where I talked about taking your medicine and doing the work that you need to do? The theme is still here a little bit. Saturn comes in now and says, hey, whatever karmic work that you do with this full moon and with the rest of this lunar cycle, it's going to have a big impact on you. And whatever work you don't do, whatever work you avoid, it's going to come back around again. Probably in the springtime or the summer with Gemini season. Gemini is part of springtime, but probably when we come back around to the eclipses again, when karmic energy comes into play. So if you find yourself with this full moon, with things being illuminated, things coming up, maybe choices, crossroads, anything that's karmic, you need to pay attention to that and address it because it is coming up for a reason. We have an opportunity to maybe not necessarily shift our destiny right now. It's not like we're in this eclipse portal anymore, but we have the ability to choose how we want the rest of this year and really the next 6 months to play out. We have the choice to set the frequency or set the standard for it. Okay. Gemini energy, this is a full moon in Gemini, and Gemini is about the ether. It's about frequency. It's about relationship. It's about energetic exchange. And so we have to take all of that into contemplation when we think about how that could be squaring off with something. So, you want to make sure that all of your frequencies, your energetic exchanges are not feeling this tension or this resistance. So pay attention to your relationships most of all. We also have the energy of just Gemini and this full moon coming into play. We have to think about how Gemini is the sign of the twins. This can be the relationship of somebody else that is reflecting back to you. So maybe if you are being triggered or disturbed by other people's behaviors, I would ask yourself if that's a reflection within you that you are not comfortable with within yourself, some sort of behavior or action or way within yourself that feels a little cringe. That could be what's going on right now. It's also the relationship to self without any other reflection or anybody else on the outside. So just how is your relationship with yourself? Do you have a positive relationship with yourself? Do you talk to yourself in a positive or negative way? Do you treat yourself in a positive or negative way? How are you dividing up your energy between external and other versus internal and self? I really took some time off around this full moon. Of course, I had Thanksgiving off, but then I also took off Friday and Saturday, and I took off today for the moon. And it feels really good to take that time and have that balance for myself and the other. I had plenty of time to get all of my work done. I also had plenty of time for my family today, my son, my husband. I got all my wife and mom things done. I took care of my household and my environment, and I had time to work on my business. And now I have time for myself after this transmission. I'm going to give myself a nice couple of hours before I go to bed and get my kid and snuggle up with him. I'm going to take time for myself. And, this is the energy that we should be focusing on right now. We need to be making sure that we take that time for our routines and our self-care habits. Like last night I did some good gua sha on my face, and tonight I'm going to take a nice hot bath. But remember, with the last new moon, and the new moon energy rules the entire lunar cycle, so we're still in that. But the last new moon was about finding the ritual and finding, time for your spiritual practices and the things that you need on a regular basis, like your spiritual medicine, okay? And we're still in that energy now. So full moons are always a check-in point. We're halfway through the lunar cycle. The full moon's kind of checking us right now and saying, hey, how's that relationship with yourself doing? Maybe get back to that if you haven't yet. And whatever is getting in the way of that, if you're not in that flow, if you've still got time that you want to give to yourself, or you're imbalanced and you want to come back to that equanimity, more of that symmetry, that asymmetry, asymmetrical symmetry, imperfectly perfect, then, use this moon to release. Use this full moon. The energy of the full moon is always a time of release. Use this moon to release. Cut ties with relationships that are draining you. Cut ties with maybe just your work life relationship. Reassess those boundaries or set boundaries if you need to. just manage your time, coming back to that concept of time I mentioned just earlier in the prayer. Thinking about the energetic exchanges and how they're affecting you. It's very karmically going to impact you with whatever decisions and choices you make right now. Okay, moving on, we have the Sun and Mercury both in Sagittarius, also with Mars right now. So Mars was combust with the Sun in Sagittarius, but Sagittarius is the cosmic archer, the cosmic huntress, and you bring in this Mars energy, which is the cosmic warrior and person who goes to battle, and it's this planet of war. It's very intense. It's very masculine. We've had a very fiery, masculine, warlike, going to battle, easily triggered type of energy until very recently. Now it's in more of a positive, optimistic, conflict resolution type Scorpio. We're not getting political here, but let's talk really quick about, there's a lot of war. There's a lot of firing of missiles and bombs and guns going off in the world. And with this war and these wars that are going on, things might start to shift now because we are moving into a different energy. Mercury is the planet of communication and expression. It's in positive, encouraging, optimistic Sagittarius. We've got the Sun, our masculine energy. We've got Mars, planet of masculine energy. It's all together with Sagittarius now. So things are going to shift in how you react. You might not be so triggered, or you might not be responsive in such an intense way anymore. You might be a little bit more positive or optimistic, or you might still be fiery because Sagittarius is fire sign and it can be triggering too. So be careful with that, but be mindful of your interactions because these things can be very triggering to you, or maybe if you have had conflict with somebody in the past, now this full moon is coming in with all of this Sag energy and Mercury, Mars, and the Sun to shift it. Maybe you feel a little bit better about finding reconciliation or talking things over, finding more peace. Again, Gemini, air sign, equanimity, twins, it's all about seeing each other's side and trying to understand each other more. So this is another energy that might be coming into play right now, and it's a good time to take advantage of it. It is the holiday season. People tend to be in higher spirits. Sagittarius season is when people tend to be in a more joyful, happier, optimistic, encouraging, supportive mood. This is a time to handle all of those shadows that might be coming up right now that the full moon is shining light on. This is the time to go about taking care of them between now and, throughout the rest of this lunar cycle. Okay, let's also talk quickly about Venus. I mentioned Venus in the last cycle. Venus is still very much at play right now. Venus is actually being honored right now on the eastern side of the world with Diva Diwali or Diva Diwali. And in America, we're like Diwali. It's Diwali. But the Deva is in the goddess, the Deva Diwali. This is a time when we are honoring the feminine, and this masculine has all shifted now and gone to a more like positive, peaceful, oriented energy. And the feminine comes in right now with Venus, and we are being ignited to form better bonds, form better relationships, to lead with our heart, to lead with love, to lead with emotion, to emotionally process, not hold grudges, not let things get stuck, not hold grievance. It's a really good energy right now to heal relationships. So take advantage of the energy the best you can. If you are looking to form partnership with a lover right now, this is also a good time to do that. Let's shift over to the eastern side of the world. Let's talk about Vedic astrology. In the Vedic side of the world, we're in Rohini Nakshatra. This is the lunar mansion of the ascended one, the star of the attainable. This is a time when we feel more positive and hopeful about good outcomes, where we're feeling like things are going to turn out good. And this is also a very auspicious lunar mansion for the moon, because this is the moon's favorite lunar mansion to reside in. In Vedic astrology, we're always one sign off. It's a little bit different. So this moon is in the constellation of Taurus, and Rohini in Sanskrit translates to reddish one. That's also why I wanted to do things from my bedroom with my moon bedspread. This is the favorite lunar mansion of the moon, so we've got some moon energy. And then I've got a very red bedroom, and this is why we're doing it from here. We're bringing in this red energy because this is the star known as the reddish one. This is where the moon is aligning right now. And the eye of the Taurus bull is very feminine, very fertile, very creative. These aren't the horns of the bull. It's not the snout of the bull or the mouth. It's the eye. And the eye is what sees and what processes and what takes in. And the eye of the Taurus bull can be very focused. It focuses in on that red cape that matador is waving, and it charges right at it, right? It aims right at the target, charges right at it, and it rarely misses. And it charges with full force and a lot of power. This energy is asking us to do the same with whatever we are doing. Our relationships should be energetic exchanges of full force and power. If you are friending more than somebody else, if you are the better friend, the better family member, the better worker, the better coworker, the better partner, whatever it is, it's time to find more symmetry. It's time to find more equanimity. You have got to have people that come at you with that same full, passionate, heart-centered force that you are emitting. It's got to be met right now. And if it's not, it's time to adjust those relationships. It's time to set boundaries. It's time to cut ties. I mentioned that this is a good moon to bring in romantic partnerships. This is also a good moon to split them up. Full moons are about release. This is release of relationship, whether you're looking at Gemini on the western side of the world or whether you're looking at more of this Taurus energy on the eastern side of the world. We also want to think about, Sagittarius season is the sign of the archer, the hunter, the huntress, very independent, very self-sustaining, very go after what they want, meeting the target with their arrow, following through, and the energy is the same on the eastern side of the world. So we want people that are, aiming to have the same heartfelt relationship as we want, whether that be friendship, whether that be family, whether that be romantic or platonic, it doesn't matter. Co-workers and work relationships the same. Everything is going to be moving into more of an equanimity with this age of Aquarius. And I feel like this Gemini full moon in the Sagittarius season is kind of an initiation into that. So as you are thinking about your relationships right now and you're thinking about partnerships and all of these bonds that you're forming, think about them all being with those same intentions, right? We all need to have the same intentions, and you need to open up communication if you don't know if you're on the same plane as somebody else. That could be the Gemini energy initiating that throat chakra, which rules Gemini, or maybe that's just this energy of Rohini Nakshatra. In India, in Hindu tradition, in Vedic astrology, this is the best moon to get married under. And I remember when I was in India during this time of year, 6 years ago, we were in Puri at one point, and that is kind of an Indian wedding destination place. And when we would walk the beach at night, there was just Indian wedding after wedding after wedding at each of the resorts. It was really cool. We also were in Varanasi, and this is a time actually with this Diva Diwali, honoring the goddess, honoring the energy of the feminine. There's a very huge arty fire ceremony that goes on right now in Varanasi. And I was in Varanasi this time 6 years ago, when everything was very lit up, and also there were a lot of weddings going on. We actually got delayed on the way to our hotel because there was a big wedding parade. And if you are Hindu, or if you know about Indian weddings, there's nothing like seeing an Indian wedding parade. It's actually pretty cool. But there were a lot of those. So I just think about that energy right now because, yeah, this moon is the time when, if you want to get married, it's a good time to get married. But it's a good time to form bonds, partnerships, any of that. And it's a good time to do those sorts of things now because Mercury actually goes retrograde December 13th, one day after the new moon in Sagittarius. So the next 2 weeks leading up to that Mercury retrograde, we want to make sure that we're forming our relationships, partnerships, bonds now, that we're communicating and we're on the same page, that we're forming those contracts, whether they be heart contracts, soul contracts, or business contracts, purchase contracts, any of those relationships that we're going to be forming right now. We want to make sure that they're leading with the proper intention. And think of relationships with big purchases too. You don't want to make a big purchase in Mercury retrograde. This is the holiday shopping season. If you are moving into a relationship with a mortgage or a car loan or a boat loan or a motorcycle or, something that cost a lot of money, you want to maybe do that now with the full moon. This full moon with Gemini is very related to technology. And then also you're just supported with any sort of partnership and bond with Rohini Nakshatra. The red of the reddish one is the passion. It's the firing up. It's the excitement. It's all of those things that get us like Twitter-pated about relationships, whether it be romantic, whether it be a new friendship, whether it be a new car that you buy or a new house. They all have these different energetic exchanges that you can get excited about. Okay. Wow, I did good. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. So that's really what's going on with this moon and kind of what's going on with the cosmos right now, eastern side of the world, western side of the world, how you can be influenced with the energy. I don't have much else to say. I do want to finish up with the tarot reading, talking about the cards I pulled for this moon. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything you'd like to put, go ahead and put it in the chat. I actually have some water off to the side. I'm just going to take a deep breath. I have talked a lot. And then I'm going to get a drink and then I will do our tarot reading. So we'll be here about 20 more minutes together at the most. Okay. Let's talk about the tarot. Pulled some pretty cool cards, and if you want to read about them, you can go to vinalene.com and click on tarot and oracle card readings. You can find it there. Also, speaking of my website, if you go there, I write about the moon. I write about Sagittarius season, or all the astrological seasons. You can go to my website and read a lot about what's going on. Sometimes the things I write about are different than the things that I say, so you might get some different information if you go read things there. Also, in the spirit of Cyber Moon Day Monday, have a lot of discounts on my site. So if you go to store, vinalene.com/store, you can see all of my discounts as well. Okay, before we bring in these cards and the messages they have to offer, I just want to thank the tarot for being here. I'm going to take a deep breath. Thank these cards for being in our circle tonight, for the messages that they have to offer us. We ask that they do not fall on deaf ears. We know that the cards do not lie. We trust in what they have to say. For our past card, I pulled the Ace of Pentacles. Got a beautiful sand dollar here with a little ribbon woven in between. Anytime we have the ace in a card, it's new beginnings. Anytime we have pentacles, it's about fortune, wealth, abundance, maybe money, maybe other things. But this is our past card, remember. So this is telling us that we have recently been given the opportunity to rewrite our destiny. We talked about this with the Scorpio new moon. We're still in that energy with this lunar cycle. We have the opportunity to make money in a different way, to attract fortune in a different way, and also to think about the gold that we've already gathered, right? We've been in harvest season. This is a time of thanks. This is a time of gratitude. The Ace of Pentacles tells us to look at all we have experienced, all we've gone through, the simple things that maybe we don't realize we are grateful for, but we should be. This is a simple sand dollar, but the beauty and how beautiful when you find, like, how lucky are you when you find a perfect sand dollar on the beach that isn't broken, right? But even the broken ones are beautiful. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that even the broken times are beautiful. Even the shadowy, cringy times give us gold. And when we can embrace the gold and be grateful for all that we've gone through, all the experiences, even the shadows, we initiate this frequency of gratitude. Remember, we are in a moon of frequency, heightening frequency and creating more of a magnetic attraction. When you hold a space of gratitude for everything all the time, no matter what, you start to attract more to be grateful for. It's the key to attracting more abundance. So give yourself the ability now, underneath this full moon, to reflect in the spirit of Gemini. Reflect on all the shadows, all the things that might be coming up from the surface. Ask yourself if you can be grateful, if you can be thankful, if it offered wisdom, if it offered gold, if it made you a better person, if it helped you to get into a better place, put you on a better path. All of those are ways to alchemize your emotions and alchemize the way that you feel, and also initiate more of that sensation of gratitude. For our present card, I got the moon, and this one literally jumped out of the deck as I was shuffling it. It was a shuffle, boop, the moon popped out. So here we are. Anytime we get the moon card, it's telling us to trust our intuition and do our shadow work. Both. Psychic senses are heightened right now with the Gemini moon. It's an air moon. Anytime we're in air energy, we are heightened with our intuition, our psychic senses, our thinking mind, our contemplative brain, and our frequencies of our brain waves are heightened as well. So if you get yourself into liminal spaces, like I led a yoga nidra last night at my studio to do more work with Sankalpa, but when you get into liminal spaces, the in-between, the Zen state between wake, sleep, it's a space you're in when you're in pleasure state as well, like orgasmic or just before orgasmic state. When you're in that Zen state, you get it with the runner's high, you get it with a plant medicine high, all of that. When you get in that brainwave state and you start thinking about all you want to attract in the world and all the good that you want to do in the world and all the healing that you want to do with yourself and all the help that you want to help others do with their healing, and you just get in that mindset, it'll become very powerful and very magnetic and very attractive. So it's kind of the law of attraction times 10.0, and it brings back a lot of all you desire in a quicker way. So it's a roundabout way of saying trust your intuition right now, trust your instincts, but also get into those liminal spaces. Get into a relaxed state, a meditative state, almost that hypnotic state, and see what kind of work you can do there. You can do a lot of healing with your shadow work. You can do a lot of healing with any sort of wounds and trauma, and you can do a lot of work with the law of attraction as well. Also, this is just the moon saying, hey, this moon is the moon's favorite with Vedic astrology. Rohini Nakshatra, favorite moon, very powerful moon, very lucky moon, very supportive, auspicious moon to go after what you want and also who you want. And finally, for our future card, I have the Queen of Cups in reverse. I love this card. This is the White Sage Tarot, by the way, the deck, White Sage Tarot, in the theme of things. But it's a beaver, and she's got her queen crown on, and she's floating while sipping chamomile tea. And anytime we have this card, it's kind of telling us to just slow down and enjoy the pleasures of life. The Queen of Cups, she doesn't get overwhelmed and overdramatic. She's mastered her emotions. She's emotionally stable. She feels very peaceful and harmonious. Remember, I said this is about creating peaceful energy, this moon. She also learns that life doesn't have to be in such a rush, that we can also enjoy the pleasures of life, because the more pleasure and joy and happiness that we take in, the more gratitude we have. Like, we're grateful for those moments. We're grateful for those experiences. And again, we're emitting a frequency that attracts more pleasure, more joy, more things to be grateful for. So don't get in a rush. Slow down. Enjoy the holiday season. Don't get so stressed out. Yes, you'll have to-do lists. Yes, you'll have things to get done. Yes, you're probably anxious about the upcoming year. Yes, there are still bills to pay. I get it. But can you just slow down and take in the bliss, the ananda, these little golden nuggets all around us that we have to offer? I saw a thing on the internet, good old internet. I don't know why I say that like I'm just like so old. I saw it on the internet. Don't we see everything on the internet? Gosh. I think I saw it on Instagram. I think I saw it here. But it was talking about how, we talk about triggers so much right now. Trigger is a very pop culture world. But what about the glimmers? So we have all these little things that bring up our wounds and bring up our lower frequency emotions, and those are our triggers. But we also have all these little things that bring up the good little feelings in our belly and make us feel warm inside and light up our fires and put a smile on our face. Those are the glimmers. So can you focus on the glimmers more than the triggers for the rest of this lunar cycle? Because the lights are all around us twinkling with the holiday season. We string up lights this time of year because it is the darkest time of year in nature. We have more darkness than light. We have darker, colder nights. And with that, it is up to us to bring the light. So string up your metaphorical lights underneath this full moon. Light up your internal fires of joy, bliss, and passion, and let yourself take in the true bliss and gifts that this life has to offer. This is what I have for you tonight, loves. I do want to release our guides and guardians in prayer that will seal our circle and complete it. But then I do want to stick around real quick and tell you about a few offerings that I have coming up that I'm super excited about. My 13 Moons membership and Conscious Creatress is open. Has not been open all year, I think. I think I opened it up maybe at Lunar New Year last year. Well, at the beginning of this year in February, but it's been a while. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to stretch my legs out for just a moment. Actually, I'm going to get up on my knees. I like to be on my knees when I do invocation. Okay, let's seal with our prayer. Starting with releasing the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the ether, the Akash, beyond this planet, beyond this space and time, beyond these dimensions. Things that are unexplainable, yet we still feel. We thank you for being in our circle tonight. And now we release you. We also release the guides and guardians of the north. All of the elements of the earth. We know the magic stays with us. It's always surrounding us. Same with our ancestors. We thank you for your guidance. We know that you're always here when we need you. All we simply have to do is ask, just as we have to do with those that are in the ether. We thank you for being in our circle tonight, and we release you now. We also release the guides and guardians of the west with their element of water, helping us to process our emotions, to take in more pleasures of life, to find our creativity underneath this Rohini Nakshatra. We trust in our fertility. We trust in time and the divine timing that is both in our control and out of our control. It all has to do with our frequency, that energy in motion, just like water. And so we thank the guides and guardians of the West with their water for being in our circle tonight, and we release you now. We also release the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, the passionate energy that has now ignited our own flames. Flames from our heart, helping us to form true, pure bonds with others. Flames of our solar plexus, helping us to work in a passionate way with purpose and intention, and with daily, regular action, surrounded in spirit. We also thank the fire for making it easy to release what no longer serves us. We thank the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire for being in our circle, and we release you now. And finally, but not last, we release the guides and guardians of the East, their element of air, helping us to purify our spaces, to move our voice through with pure consciousness and focus and intention. We're thankful for each breath that moves in and out of our body, constantly giving us the opportunity for new prana and the opportunity to let go with ease. We release whatever we need to release with the ease of a breath underneath this full moon. And we thank the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air for being in our circle tonight as we release them now. With that, our circle is complete. I do thank you for being here. If you are leaving now, we will meet again on December 12th for the new moon in Sagittarius here on Instagram, of course. Replays available, of course. Let's talk a little bit about some exciting things coming real quick. Like I said, I'll only take a few minutes here. 13 moons. Now, I talked about this, it was a while ago. I set the intention. The intention did not happen at the timing I set it because I've had a heck of a year, as you know, with my allergies. I had to take some time off. I'm refreshed. I'm focused. I got very intentional with the thing that I've wanted to create. And 13 Moons is available for pre-launch, pre-enrollment. It will not launch until January. Now, with that being said, there will be content put in before January because I'm in the mood and I'm going to be putting in some things about the Gemini moon and Sagittarius season over the next few days. So if you get that membership, you'll be able to see some things soon. This is a digital monthly membership to help us attune to the moon a little bit deeper. If you enjoy these moon circles and you want to know more about astrology, if you want more guidance with things like retrogrades and eclipses and conjunctions and all of the woo-woo things that come up in the stars, we're going to talk about that in 13 Moons. I'm also going to share elements, crystals, essential oils, other things, tools for you to work with each new and full moon with much more detail. I'm also going to be sharing both practical magic and ritual magic, different techniques. If you remember with the last new moon, I suggested scrying. So we will talk about things like scrying, smudging, making spell bottles, making smudging sprays, setting up crystal grids. The list goes on and on. Lots going on there that I'm going to be sharing. And it's a space for us to come together in community. So if you're somebody that's into the moon, into the stars, into astrology, into woo-woo practical magic, witchy magic things, I want to join you in that safe, sacred, private container that will be 13 moons. 13 moons will be $13 a month starting in January, but until the end of the year, if you pre-enroll, it's $11 a month. And like I said, there will be content for this Sagittarius season, so you won't be letting your money go to waste if you sign up right away. You will be just saving on your membership, but you will get some information as well. There's a 6-month membership. There's a yearly membership if you want to save a little bit more. And yeah, it's going to be a place where future moon circles are held, future, I don't want to call it a coven, but that would be kind of in comparison. It would be similar to a coven for us. It's a sisterhood. It's a sisterhood circle. Not to say that the brothers are not invited, because it's not exclusive to women. But it's for moon people, people into the moon. And we're going to gather there monthly and do ritual, do magic, talk about things. I'll be doing private card readings, personal card readings. I'm going to be giving out Reiki, personal energy share sessions, all kinds of stuff in that sacred space. So 13 moons is coming. If you go to my website right now, vinalene.com/store, you will see 3 options for that membership at the $11 discount and more. If you go for the 6-month or yearly, you either get like 1 month for free or 2 months for free. So you can save a little bit, and your options are there. So you can go ahead and sign up. The other thing I want to talk about is Conscious Creatress. This is my signature manifestation program. This is something I developed about 3 years ago. I have had, oh my goodness, how many women has it been 13 yet? I think it's been more than 13 women now that have gone through the program. I'm very limited on when I open up enrollment. So enrollment has not been open very often over the past 3 years. But during that time, I have opened up enrollment several times. Women have worked through this program and they have manifested the life of their freaking dreams, myself included. I have put all of my guidance, wisdom, knowledge when it comes to shadow work, when it comes to healing our wounds around our mother wounds, our father wounds, our sibling wounds, our witch wounds, our birth wounds, our bleeding wounds, our menstrual wounds, our birth, our womb wounds, all of that. There's been passion put into healing those things. There have been techniques shared in that program to help you get rid of your creative blockages, get rid of the blockages that prevent you from taking steps or shifting your behavior or developing new habits. Lisa, I know you've been through this program. If you're still on here, if you want to chime in, feel free to mention how magical Conscious Creators can be. Or anybody else, if you're here and you've been through the program. It also gives you real life, every single day techniques, homework, practices to do to enhance your manifesting magic, to enhance your manifesting attraction, that frequency we talked about tonight. If you want to enhance that and make that super magnetic to attract whatever you desire, Conscious Creatress is a great program to lead you through that. So how does it work? Well, it's digital. It's a pre-recorded program. Every single day, I don't know why I'm hitting the bed over and over like this. I'm excited. I'm going to stop. Every single day, you have content released to you that you tune into, and maybe something to read. It may be a short little video, maybe some sort of practice, but it's going to help you work through your stuff work through your shadows, work through your wounds, find true healing, shift the emotions, emotionally alchemize, and also do all of these things to attract your manifestation magnetic power at the same time. We do this by working through the lunar cycles. So you actually work through 16 weeks, which is 4 lunar cycles. This is about the container of space, of time it takes for people to make their dreams come true. And if it's not coming true within those 4 lunar cycles, you usually have clarity on why, and you're able to shift into a new dream or focus, or redesign your dream and focus and start working on it in a different way. During those 4 lunar cycles, you're going to navigate through your 4 energy centers of manifestation. Those are your first 4 chakras: your root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, and heart chakra. Kind of talked about all of those tonight in our moon circle. These 4 energy centers are your human energy centers. They're your earthly energy centers, and this is how you bring the things from your spiritual centers, your mind, your heart, your creative essence, your expression, all of these things that are up in the upper parts, they come down into your earthly reality through working through those first 4 energy centers. So each month you visit each 4. For example, month 1, week 1, root chakra focus. Month 1, week 2, sacral. Week 3, solar. Week 4, heart. Go into month 2, week 1, root chakra going a little deeper. Month 2, week 2, sacral chopra. We get some Chopra techniques in there. Sacral chakra going a little deeper. Solar and heart going a little deeper. Month 3, round 3 with 1, 2, 3, 4 on those energy centers. You get the drift. By the time you're in month 4, you're getting deep. You're doing intense shadow work, intense powerful manifestation techniques, and you're doing a lot of other magic along the way. So, Conscious Creatress has 4 different enrollment options. I really should say 6, and when we want to think about it. The first one is, it actually has 2 different enrollment options. You have a regular enrollment option. You get the program, you follow the guided content, you're in a private group online where we can talk one-on-one if you need to reach out to me or anybody else working through the program or who has worked through the program in the past. There's also a premium enrollment where you actually meet with me for 2 private sessions each of the 4 months. So that's 8 private sessions total to do some soul coaching, to get some Reiki and energy healing work, and to get a card reading for extra guidance. So you get a little bit of extra one-on-one work with me. Now I say there's 6 options because you can either pay in full on each one of those 2, regular enrollment or premium. You get to save when you pay in full, or you can do a payment plan. I have a 6-month payment plan. I have a 12-month payment plan. I try to make this program affordable for you while still retaining the value. The value of the program has gone up every single time I've opened enrollment because I add in more and more content, and there's even more to come. Now, we are starting this program with the Sagittarius new moon. When I say we, I mean me and whoever else is in the program with me, because I am going through this program again. Not that I don't go through the steps every time I do enrollment and lead women through, but this particular time I am going to do all of the homework, every single step, technique, every single thing that I'm guiding you through. I'm going to be doing it too because I feel like it is time. I feel like I am creating something new. I've got a lot of things that I'm trying to bring into the world right now. There's a new version of myself that I'm trying to step into. And with that, I'm ready to do this work alongside with you. So this is an extra special container of enrollment. This is going to be an extra special Conscious Creatress. And by the way, if you're an alumni of the program, I'm going to be reaching out to all of you women and ask you to go through this program with me too, to ask you to step into 2024 with me going through this work, because we know how magical it was the first round, and we know that it can be even more magical if we work through it all together again. So I've mentioned several times women, women, women. Yes, this program is only for women. I know that that's going to ruffle some feathers, and I get it. We're in a very gender sensitive world right now, and I get that. And this isn't to be gender insensitive. This is simply because this program talks about the womb, the actual physical anatomical reproductive womb, whether you have a womb or not. In fact, many of the women that have gone through my program have had hysterectomies and do not have their womb, or maybe they've never had a baby, and that's okay. But we are going to specifically talk about the cervix and our uterus and that container of the womb space, the physical as much as the energetic. We also talk about specific relationships between the daughter and the father, and the daughter and the mother, and the daughter and the womb, and daughter and their experience of being born and being in their mother's womb. And that is a different relationship than the male son experience with the father, with the mother, with the womb. It's just different. And I, not being male, not being a son, I don't have that perspective. I feel like that is more sacred masculine work. I work in the divine and the sacred feminine, and so that is not my realm. And so I am not one to lead men through those dynamics of those relationships, because I'm not in a space to do that. I have not had those experiences. You know, my husband, I'll get real frank with you, my husband and I, we were having a fight. We were having a fight about a week or so ago, heightened Scorpio season, and we were talking about relationships between us and our parents, or past relationships of us and our parents. And my husband said something very powerful. He said, because I said, I'm trying to take into consideration your relationship with you and your father and that dynamic. And he said to me, how could you ever take that into consideration? You don't have a dick. You're not a man. You're not a son, and you don't have a father as a son. You don't have a son-father relationship. You don't know what that's like, because you can't embody that. And although he said that out of, anger and intensity and triggering emotion, it hit me hard, because it's true. I'm not a man. I don't embrace that energy. I cannot relate to those dynamics and those relationships. So again, conscious creatress is called conscious creatress for a reason. It's not conscious creator. It's not conscious creation. It's conscious creatress, because it's for women, because that's what I relate to. Did you just see the curtain move? I saw it. Anyway, maybe it was a glimmer. Maybe it was a orb or a fairy, but I just saw a little something there. So confirmation from the universe, but I just want to explain that, because I've never had to defend it, but I want you to know this is coming from the heart. It's not coming out of some sort of segregation or keeping people away from something. It's just the work I do and the way that I do it. Okay. You go through the program for 4 lunar cycles. You do a shit ton of work, for lack of a better language. It's a lot of powerful work, and it's going to make your wildest dreams come true. I have no other way to say it. It has the techniques and tools that I've taught in that program, and the method that I teach in that program, the Conscious Creatress method, has worked wonders on my life. It has worked wonders on the others that have gone through the program. I, in my own life, looked at my vision board just yesterday and looked at, by the way, I teach you in the program how to make an entirely different vision board, but I was looking at this vision board that me and my husband created together, and I was like, oh my gosh, like almost all of these things have come true. And if they haven't come true, they're about to come true. Like the momentum is there. And it just made me realize how powerful we can be as magnetic attractors when we want to be, when we do the work, when we do the healing, when we get our energy flowing in a right way, when we show up to ourselves every day with self-care, when we show up with spiritual and ritualistic magic and routine, when we stay hopeful and in high frequency, just so much can happen. So my program is open. Doors to enrollment are open through December 15th. We are going to start together on the Sagittarius new moon in the program. We'll start doing the work together then. That's when I'm going to do the work. Whether anybody comes with me or not, I'll be in there doing the work. And I'm going to be doing a little video vlog, I think, every day of my experience and putting it in the private little community, the Sisterhood of Conscious Creation. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting this round. It'll be interesting. After December 15th is kind of day 3, 4 of the lunar cycle of Sagittarius. We will close the doors. Enrollment will not open again until Lunar New Year, which is February of 2024. I never encourage manifestation and doing brand new work, new beginnings work on January 1st. It's very rare that I would suggest that because the alignment just isn't there. So now this next lunar cycle, new moon in Sagittarius, is the time to start working on our dreams. We're kind of setting intention, planting seedlings now. We'll start working on it and putting the energy there with the new moon in Sagittarius. And then we will, if you don't come with me on that ride, we'll take the ride together on Lunar New Year again. So go check it out. VinaLene.com/CC23. Conscious Creators 23 CC, or you can go to VinaLene.com/store on my website. Click on Conscious Creators so you can read all about it. Okay, loves, that's all I have for you. Thanks for sticking around a little bit of extra time to learn more and talk more. I hope that you have a beautiful full moon. Go charge your crystals and your moon water and cleanse your things and all your woo. Go smudge your spaces because it's a good time to do so. And you can do this anytime in the next few days, by the way. The full moon is at its peak today. It was at its peak this morning, about 3 o'clock this morning, Central Time. But the power of the lunar portal is here about 48 hours before and after its peak. So you still have tonight and tomorrow night to still kind of take in that lunar energy. So I will probably drink the moon water I made tonight, tomorrow, and then make more moon water tomorrow and drink that, because moon water right now is really powerful for fighting off the ickies, the parasites and the yeast and all the stuff, and getting your gut health purified. It can be like, if you don't want to do a detox tea or some sort of liver cleanse or juice cleanse or anything like that right now, simply drinking moon water can be incredibly purifying. So do that if you want to do that as well. But yeah, take advantage of the moon energy for the next couple of days. It's going to be really strong. This is the moon's favorite place to be. So there's a lot of powerful energy, and that energy is just going to continue to ride us into the new moon in Sagittarius, which is a really exciting, fun, fiery, blissful, joyful moon as well. So until we meet again on that new moon, may we all be happy. May we all be healthy. May we all just feel so safe and know peace. May we all feel loved, be loved, and love one another. And so it is. And so it already is happening. And so it mote be. Namaste. And blessed be.